All right. So, must know life skills 16 to 18. And I'm going to say something that's going to offend people. But here we go. If you have told your child when you're 18 you got to get out of my house, I hope you have prepared them for what is coming at them. Um, because it is a cruel, cruel world out there, and you as an adult know how hard it is. And to thrust them out into that world unprepared, do you not love them? So, and even if for whatever reason you're like, I can't financially take care of them anymore after they're 18, then guess what? Maybe set up a roommate agreement for them or something like that, so they can rent their room and not charge them a boatload. Because I'm like, grown folks are out here talking about rent too damn high. Why would you put them? They got enough coming at their way. And this is the one thing that when I mentored high school students, here's the one thing I found out. Everyone talks about, oh, you should really stay at home until your child's like 5, 6, or 7. Those are so important years. Those are those are foundational years. Here's the thing. That 14 to 18, those years they're in high school, guess what? They kind of know in 4 years they're an adult. So even though they're like, I can't wait till I get out of this house, I can't wait till I'm 18, they don't know what they're saying. Because guess what? Now all these millennials talking about adulting's hard. Because I noticed that the 14 years to 16-year-olds, that age needs you just as much as those foundational years. Because guess what? The little kids, most people are going to look out for a toddler, for a 5 or 7-year-old. Now you have kids 14 to 18. Their bodies are developing. They have grown up bodies, but mentally and socially, they ain't there. They think they know, but they don't. And as much as they're giving you, they're pulling back or they're being rebellious, they are also desperately seeking reassurance that, I'm afraid. Because they are afraid. They're not going to say that, but they are. And so even in the middle of the rebellion and stuff like that, they are still trying to figure out who they are because they don't know. So as much as you're like, oh, shoot, they teenagers, they can handle it. No, they can't. No, they can't. And they still need mom and dad. They're not going to tell you that. But they need it in a different way. So your 14 and 18-year-olds, look out on them. Look out, look. Because there's a lot coming their way that didn't come our way. I mean, and we were Gen X and stuff, but some of this stuff that's out here now, it's like I said, this is this social media generation where, when we talk to people on the phone, we at the party line, hey girl, blah, blah, blah. Ooh, my mom and daddy home. Call me after this time. Because tolls and long distance phone calls, and then when, pagers came in, hey. Now they have phones, they have iPads. And I'm watching and listening to the nieces and nephews, and I'm seeing what they're watching on YouTube. Hey, what's that? That person don't sound like a teenager. That sounds like a grown person fronting. My niece, we just had this discussion, freshman year in high school. Her brothers had already graduated. People knew her brothers. Her first day as a freshman, and by this time I had moved to New York, some senior, she's 14, some 18-year-old senior hitting on her. Sir, you're 18. You're legally an adult. Why are you talking to that 14-year-old girl? Because she don't know what's happening. So Auntie Rhonda did what Auntie Rhonda do. Who? I called some of the older kids that I had mentored that had already graduated. Hey, we got a situation. We got the senior talking to the 14-year-old. I need for y'all to fix that. A couple of days later, she's like, Auntie, what did you do? I'm like, honey, what are you talking about? I'm in New York. What do you mean? Nobody wants to talk to me now. I was like, honey, I don't know. I was like, and what are you doing talking to a senior anyway? You need to be talking to freshmen. Okay. She was like, I fessed up to her recently that Auntie did intervene in that situation. But again, watch out for your children. Okay. So 16 to 18. By this time, they already know about checking accounts, savings accounts, need versus want, asset versus liability, wealth versus rich. They should have their passports. They should have their state ID. If they're 16, we're getting our learner's permits, driver's licenses. You've had the talk, particularly if they're children of color, about what happens if they get pulled over in their cars. Again, resource for that is the ACLU has a Know Your Rights section for encounters with the police, be it in your car or at home. Also, like I said, if there is a state law school nearby you, a lot of times they have legal clinics, or Black Law Students Association or Latino Law Students Association will run a program called Streetwise, where they go to junior high and high school programs and tell the kids, what their rights are and how to, what to do in interactions. Taxes. Your children, if they're 16 to 18-year-old, they're probably going to have to start filing taxes. You should have by now had them where they've already started talking about financial planning. Like I said, you utilize your free resources. Even if you can't afford a paid financial advisor, you have a bank. Most banks and credit unions offer free financial planning services. Your 401k, your IRA, who manages those for you? They have free financial planning services. You should be having these conversations with your children. Should have already, your 16 to 18-year-olds should have already met the financial advisor, should have already talked to the bank, because you're also planning for college. Do they have a 529 plan? These are conversations that should have already been had. Do they know about tax returns? And that when they're 18, they're going to have to start doing that. And for some of them, if they have trust funds and they're making money, even if they don't have trust funds, if they have stocks that they are making money off of, you might have to file returns for them. If you have high school students who have NIL deals, name, image, likeness, and I've done tons of articles of this, not only high school students, but gamers, young as 11 and 12, are bringing in money. You need to file taxes for them. And if you don't, by the time they're 18, there may be many tax penalties. Check out those articles. Start having those. Like I said, if you have kids who are name, image, license, they're making money off of that, your sports athletes or gamers, and they're making money off social media, the tax man will come for them. Okay? Handle that. Talk to an accountant. Your children should know about renting an apartment. They're probably going to start doing that in college. Most apartment complexes check your credit history before reading. So, do they know what's on their credit report? Again, parents, for those that put stuff in their children's name, please clear that up. And we're going to have a separate section on that. I will. Things to consider if your children are renting an apartment, particularly if they're doing it in college, or if they're not in college and they're just moving out and they're getting a roommate. Honey. I'm going to have a separate talk about roommates, whether you're in college or as an adult. But yeah, rental insurance. And if one person has rental insurance, it doesn't cover the roommate. You need to know, yeah, the whole roommate situation, that's a separate topic. We'll circle back to. Filing a change of address form at the post office. College prep, again. Junior and senior year in high school is not the first time we should be talking about college. If we haven't been talking about baby college when they were 5 to 10, definitely by freshman year in high school, they should have established a rapport and a relationship with the college career counselor. Okay? Gap year. Maybe your child isn't ready for college. Maybe they need that year off because socially they're just not ready to do that. Maybe, and for the gap year, like I said, you can defer for a year. You can do stuff like have them work for a year because maybe they just need that time to, some kids can't go straight through. They just need that time to breathe. So, okay, if you're going to stay home for a year, whether maybe they can't go abroad, but okay, honey, mom and dad's going to let you stay home for the year. You need to at least have a part-time job. You need to contribute, let them get that footing. Every child is different. Student loans, Jesus, take the wheel. Last year I did a video on student loans, private, and I'm going to drop another one on student loans. You and your child need to understand student loans, federal versus private, and how that impacts you. Like I said, I'm dropping a separate one about student loans. Plus, I did one last year, funky hairdo. Check it out, the video. Don't judge the hair, okay? The information's good. I know y'all judging. I was judging. Unemployment. Unemployment is not welfare. It's money that is taken out of your paycheck every time in case you are unemployed. I've met so many adults that were like, oh, I don't do unemployment, that's welfare. That's money that came out of your check. Okay? So talk to them about how, when they're doing it, like, if you are you've been working a job, you've been contributing to unemployment insurance. And if you are discharged, laid off or whatever, you can file for unemployment. Let them know about that. It's money that you put in. Now, if you're fired, sometimes you may not be able to get unemployment. But go over the basics with them. Y'all know what I'm saying. Networking. We all know as adults, it's not what you know, it's who you know. We've all had supervisors and bosses that are not the most skilled or qualified people, but somehow they've been promoted. They've been promoting transfer like the Catholic Church when it comes to priests. Okay. Always the crazy person that you're like, oh, Lord Jesus. There's a difference between brown nosing and networking. They should understand that because you need to build a community. And if it takes a village to raise a child, how you grow in your career and your professional life is built on networks. Who are your mentors? Who's writing that reference letter for you? For college, for the scholarship, for the new job? How are you building these things? Almost every job I've gotten and I've received from networking. So, and I'll have to do a separate session on networking. I'm almost finished. Yay. First car purchase. You got to talk to them about that. I'm going to do a separate thing about your first home purchase because at 18, you're probably not doing that, but we going to have a separate session on that. Financial planning and wealth building, I mentioned that. If they aren't going to college and they're going out at 18, like after they graduate high school and they're 18 and their job has a 401k, they need to know about that. They need to know about estate planning, wills and trusts, and we're going to be dropping a whole series on wills, trusts, and estates. Entrepreneurship. Maybe your child is an entrepreneur. Like I said, they didn't started something on a YouTube channel. They're bringing in the money. You need to know how to maximize that. Go to your small business center. And here's the thing, I ain't got money, I can't afford a business planner. Resources, honey. Auntie gonna give you the resources. First of all, if there is a state university at your nearby you, and they have a graduate program, an MBA program, 9 times out of 10, that MBA program has a small business development center where the graduate students are helping you do your business plan, your competitive analysis, your marketing strategy. They will also put you in contact with a professional, a CPA, a certified public accountant, to help you do all that. They're going to help you incorporate all that good and great and wonderful stuff. Talk to your children about entrepreneurship. And because like I said, some of these young kids, I am like, wow, you guys are on, like they're on the ball. They're doing stuff with social media and other stuff. But how do they learn how to make that money, make money for them, and start wealth planning and growing that stuff? Hit a small business center. Free of charge. Healthcare. Get rid of Obamacare. We don't want the affordable health. If Obamacare / affordable care goes away, a lot of children or adult dependents will be kicked off their parents' insurance, health insurance. Have you spoken to them about how health insurance works? That, the reason why most of us have jobs is for health insurance coverage. They need to understand that, if they're working a full-time job, in addition to the 401k benefits, what's that healthcare like? Does it start on day one, preferably, or do we got a waiting period? Do they understand the difference between an HMO, a PPO, or do they know what an FSA plan is or HSA plan is? Start talking to them about that, and how they need to make sure they're going to reputable places. Voting, I can't repeat this enough. The most important voting that happens is the one that happens every 2 years at the local level, your local city, county, and state level, because that's what's going to directly impact your life on a regular basis, because that's where you're voting for the mayor, the sheriff, the prosecutors, the judges, the police. That's going to have the most direct impact on your life. Democracy only works when each citizen holds elected officials accountable. And you do that by exercising that right. Let's see, did I get through? Yay, I'm so proud of myself. We did it, guys. That is Must Know Life Skills 16 to 18. And like I said, I'm going to have separate breakout sessions for stuff like buying your first home, wills, estate, and trust, what to do for that first job. We're going to break it all down. We're going to talk about it. You get to learn from my good, bad, and ugly mistakes. We're going to keep it all. We're going to keep it in the family. Y'all going to be my play cousins. And you're going to learn from my experience. I'm going to let y'all learn. Mm-hmm. You're welcome.